For this podcast, I'm going to be talking about number 3, personal growth, and from this, I'll be talking about past times from this year that impacted me to become a better individual and a student. Throughout this year, our class focused a lot on writing aspects and on research. During the fall semester, I did a paper on college tuition and a paper on the aspects of vision. And for my college tuition paper, I talked about how the price of college tuition is so high today that it has many negative impacts on students. And for my visions paper, I talked about the sacrifice my mother made for me to be able to go to college. Through my rigorous research on my college tuition paper, it gave me real perspective about how big of an issue the price of college tuition is today. Students try to go to college to better themselves as an individual and help support their families, but many are unable to do this because the price of college tuition are so high they can't do this, as many either can't go to college or they end up going and dropping out and having to pay massive amounts of debts. And this leads me to my next point about how fortunate I am and about my visions paper. In my visions paper, I talked about my mother and about how the many sacrifices she made for me to be able to get to me where I am today, which is in college. She worked 2 jobs to be able to help save up money for me to support paying for my tuition, and without her, I wouldn't be where I am today. I definitely wouldn't be at Tech because of the high tuition it is, and it just gives me a real perspective of how fortunate I am for her. And for my next point, I'll be talking about how this class, specifically public speaking, made me a better speaker. Before this class, when I gave speeches in the past, I was very nervous about talking in front of others, and as I didn't feel comfortable talking in front of groups of kids. And I believe this is in the past because I didn't prepare well, and my research wasn't strong enough, so I didn't have enough to support my topic, which led me to become nervous and talking in front of others. And from this class, I believe that I gained this. For one of my speeches, I gave a speech on college tuition, on how it was so expensive. And before my speech, as Miss Tanya said, I spent many times going through my speech and my PowerPoints to make sure everything was perfect, and I ran through to make sure I wouldn't make any little mistakes, which helped me with my speech overall. And I also made sure that my research was very concrete, and I had points that weren't just about my topic, but actually supported what I was talking about with my problems and my solutions, which led me to get a very good speech. And for example, like this podcast here, I spent time, I made an outline, I ran through it, I practiced my outline to make sure everything was good, which led me to hopefully have a successful podcast. So thank you. It was a fun year. I learned a lot, and I believe this class, helped me become a very better individual and gain a perspective on a lot of things. Thank you.